नमः हरिः ओम् गणानाहं त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतानश्चन्वन्नोदिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्ता वन्दे श्री गुरु परम्पराम् ओम श्री शंकराचार्य स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं शान्तिः। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।
नमस्ते महोदय। लीना मेहुल्दामा भगिनी।
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्।
वेरी गुड।
श्रीलक्ष्मी HR भगिनी।
नमस्ते महोदय।
नमस्ते।
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशी निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः।
Good.
Should I repeat, sir?
It's okay. It's good.
Thank you.
राजलक्ष्मी भगिनी।
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः।
Good.
अनुपमा भट्ट भगिनी।
ये त्वेदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् चेतसः।
Good. So we did up to this shloka yesterday, and in this shloka, what Bhagavan was telling was that people who are very critical of the vision of Gita or vision of Vedas, they are all totally deluded people. They are all vimudam people. Okay, they people who are not who are understanding these are very critical about these kinds of things and talking against these things. He said that they are all deluded people. They are nattan achaitasah. That's what he said. So now we'll go further to the next verse today.
राजेश्वरी शिवशंकर भगिनी।
नमस्ते सर। नमस्ते महोदय।
नमस्ते। तदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः
प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि।
Next.
काश्मीरा भगिनी।
Yes, sir.
प्रकृतियान्ति भूतानि
प्रकृतियानि भूतानि
should be yanti, right? Is it yanti or yani in the book?
Yanti, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Prakrutiyanti bhutani.
प्रकृते यान्ति भूतानि प्रकृते यान्ति भूतानि
निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
निग्रहः किं करिष्यति निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
प्रकृति यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
प्रकृति यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति प्रकृति यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति.
Yesterday I was talking with Kanchana Bahini. She was indicating that we may perhaps give some emphasis and also understanding in terms of Mahaprana. I think some of you are already in practice sessions with some teachers. So wherever you see the aksharam in yellow color, no, that is supposed to be a Mahaprana. If you look at these particular bhutani, you have got pa, 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 bha. This is the fourth pa. The second one and the fourth one that you have in any one of the vargas, Vyanjanani means all these non-vowels, okay? In that, the second one and the fourth one are called Mahaprana, and you have to pronounce it with aspiration. There has been a kind of aspirated pronunciation is required. Like Prakrutim, you say pa, okay? Whereas when you say Bhutani, there should be a wind coming out of your mouth. Bhutani. If you keep a small piece of paper, the paper should flutter. Bhutani. Okay. So that I think is one of the emphasis she said that we may perhaps communicate to our people. So wherever you are looking at an yellow one, depending upon whether it's the first, second one, or the fourth aksharam of the specific group of letters, you may have to use it appropriately. In this case, Bhutani. That bhu. When you say the bhu, there should be some amount of air coming out of the mouth, which will make a paper, small piece of paper should flutter. So that is the right pronunciation, which she was in. She told that I may communicate in the class. So you may perhaps keep that in mind. Okay. Now, Kashmir Abhini, can you repeat the second line again?
Yes, sir. प्रकृते यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति प्रकृते यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति.
Good. Next.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
Sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha praकृतिर्ज्ञानवानपि
सदृशञ्चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृते ज्ञानवानपि सदृशञ्चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृते ज्ञानवानपि.
Good. Next.
Vijayalakshmi R Bhagini.
Prakriti yanti bhutani nigraha kiಂ karishyati.
Prakriti yanti bhutani nigraha kiಂ karishyati. Prakriti yanti bhutani nigraha kiಂ karishyati.
In the bhutani, the ta is the first ta. Bhutani. I heard it as bhutani. It is bhutani.
Shall I repeat again, sir?
Yeah, please.
Prakriti yanti bhutani nigraha kiಂ karishyati.
Next.
Sheila Shinde Bhagini.
The first
Yes, ma'am.
times.
सदृशञ्चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि सदृशञ्चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि.
Good. Next.
Sai Lakshmi Bhagini.
Namaste Maho.
Second line 2 times. Namaste.
Prakriti yanti bhutani nigraha kiಂ karishyati. Prakriti yanti bhutani निग्रहः किं करिष्यति?
Good. Next.
K. Lalita Bhagini.
First line 2 times.
Yes, sir. Sadrusang cheshtate swasyaha prakrutir jnanavanapi. Sadrusang cheshtate swasyaha prakrutir jnanavanapi.
Good. Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
Namaste, Madhya.
Namaste. Second line 2 times.
Prakriti yanti bhutani nigraha kinkarishyati. Prakriti yanti bhutani nigraha kinkarishyati.
Good. Next.
Thank you.
Gurumurthy Mahodaya.
Both the lines once.
सदृशं चेष्टदे स्वस्या प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति?
It is swasyaha. I heard it as swasya. Sadrushan cheshtate swasyaha. Prakrutir jnanavanapi swasyaha. Can you repeat again?
सदृशं चेष्टदे स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि सदृशं चेष्टदे स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि.
Good. Next.
Leena Mehul Dama Bhagini.
Both the lines once.
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति?
Good. Next.
Anupama Bhatt Bhagini.
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति?
It's prakruti yanti. Prakruti yanti. Okay.
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति?
So when you say prakrutim yanti bhutani is correct. But when you have this anuswara rule, the ya is coming. So we have got anuswara before that. So e should come. Okay. Prakruti yanti.
प्रकृति यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति?
Correct. Good. Next.
Sri Lakshmi HR Bhagini.
Both the lines once.
Yes, sir. सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति?
One more person.
Rajalakshmi Bhagini.
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतिर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति?
Good. So we'll come to the meaning of this shloka. Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha prakutehe jnanavanapi. Prakutehe means nature. Swasyaha on its own. Sadrisham means it is in keeping with one's own nature. Okay, everything acts, including a jnanavan, including a very elevated jnani. Everybody does things on his own nature. We say, no, when we talk about a person, oh, it is his nature, yeah, that is the way he behaves. And if you look at the entire, he says not only human beings, even jnanis are also controlled by their own nature in terms of behavior. That is the reason that no two jnanis will have same behavior. There is one Swamiji may act in some ways. Chinmayana Swamiji's way of behavior will be something. Swami Dayananda Saraswati may be acting in a different way. Of course, they are all having, everybody has got their own way of behavior, nature to them. Okay. Now, that is there for everything. The entire creation of living beings in the living things in the whole universe, they are acting based on their nature. A monkey acts like a monkey. A lion acts like a lion. A tree acts like a tree. A sandalwood tree is a sandalwood tree. You go and smell anywhere the sandalwood tree, you smell sandal. So they have got their own nature. Based on the nature only, everything acts. Human being is also a part of that nature. It is not that we are a people, we are disconnected from nature. Like the way everything is created, like a tree is there, a worm is there, a dog is there, a lion is there. From the overall cosmos perspective, we are also there. A human being is also there. That's it. It's not that we are in, we can immediately claim to be totally different. So we are also governed by the nature, and everything in the nature acts in as per their own instincts, as in their own way, including a Jnanavan. Jnanavan means including a Jnani. But only the good thing with the Jnani is that whatever he acts, he is going to be acting only for the good of people. Because that is the reason why he has become a Jnani. Otherwise, everybody will be, everything in the world will only act based on their own instinct. Okay. Only thing is that if you, for example, when you say when they are acting on their own instinct, for example, you cannot go to a tiger and say, Tiger, oh my dear tiger, you are not supposed to be doing himsa. You should not go and kill other animals. If you are fine, no, you just be here. I'll give you whatever you want. It will just immediately kill that fellow also, because it only looks at anything as either a food or a threat. So it does not have any other thought process in that. It will just act, okay, based on its own nature. A bat will act on its own nature. It will only be lying ulta. That is, it will be having its hands up and heads down. That is the way it will behave. It will only be in the night only, it will be hunting. That is its behavior. Owl will hunt only in the night. So everything is governed by their own nature. So you know how the nature behaves. Similarly, a human being is also driven only by nature of his own things. Okay, so he'll explain this further to that. So if everybody is going to act on their own, then prakritim yanti bhutani. So they're all prakriti. The nature is only making them all to keep acting. Nigraha kim karishyati. Who is able to control? What is the control that anybody can have on it? So if we are also going to act in our own way, you will also see in your own house, we have a lot of discussion on some issues. Then we say that this is what is to be done. Maybe the children will say, sorry, I don't agree with you. They'll act on their own because that is the natural instinct. The reason is that we as human beings, we not only have all the traits of an animal. An animal, if you look at that way, a lion will act as a lion, a tiger will act as a tiger, a monkey will act as a monkey. So they are all very fixed, systematic, programmed behaviors they have. Okay. So it will not be, when you see a tiger, you know it is going to act like that. We know how to manage it. You know how a monkey is going to behave, we know how to manage it. We know how a dog will behave, we know how to manage it. Because they are very, very, very consistent in terms of their behaviors. Whereas a human being has got, in addition to this behavior, what other species have got, we have got what is called free will. Okay. The free will only makes us to say yes or no to certain things. Even when we are hungry, when somebody, because of some mental disturbance we had due to a fight in the house, the mother comes and hands over a cup of coffee, we say, I don't want it. We say that because we have got a free will, no? We say that. So we have got a free will. And the free will is only one good thing that we have in human beings, that though we are also acting like any other species of animals in the world, the free will is able to help us in terms of understanding things. If a guru is there and he is going to come and tell you, oh, my student, this is not the way it should be done. These are all the implications. Please understand that. Then the free will is able to make you think. The free will is able to make your behavior change. It is possible for a person who is arrogant to change himself to be a calm, saintly person. But it is not possible to tame a lion or a tiger or a monkey to, maybe when you're going to have a small stick and control the monkey with a chain, you can do that to some extent. But in a free world, it is impossible to manage. They will behave the way they are. Whereas for a human being, we are also blessed that we have got a free will. And then with the free will, there's a possibility that we'll be able to understand some of these things and then change. Otherwise, the change is possible is only by the individual themselves. Even Lord Krishna comes and tells it is not possible, you will not be able to change. If our mind says, I will not change. So it is all only in our own hands. So nobody can control. Nigraha king karishyati. What can control you? Nothing can control. We will behave only like that. But only good thing is that because we have got a free will, in addition to what other animal species have got, we have a capability of reasoning, we have a capability of understanding, and we have got a capability of changing ourselves. And that is what is one of the biggest blessings that we have. Otherwise, the entire universe, entire living beings and species will behave the way they have been conditioned to behave, including human beings. We have to understand that we are in no way different. We are also like that. But with the free will, if we are able to understand and do things, we'll be able to change. There's also some people who we do not want to change. They say, I don't look at Vedanta, I don't look at Gita. What is Gita? Yeah. Did it really take place? Those kinds of questions also some people will say. Somebody will say, what is Hinduism? That's not a religion at all. There are 100 and odd gods there. So they have got different kinds of thought process these people may have. So they will not look at these kinds of things. So what I am telling is that everybody is governed by their free will, which makes them totally unique, even in the case of a Jnanavan. Okay, so we need to be very, very clear that everybody is different. Everybody has got conditioned by the nature, and the free will is something that is going to really help in terms of the human beings for taking care of themselves. Okay, next. Then the Bhagavan is telling how are we supposed to take care of ourselves? How are we supposed to know what it is? Okay, so now he go next Shloka. Who is going to?
Rajeshwari Shivashankar Bhagini.
Yeah. Indriyasyendriyasyarte.
Indriyasyendriyasyarte. Indriyasyendriyasyarte.
Ragadveshau vyavastitau.
Ragadveshau vyavastitau. Ragadveshau vyavastitau.
Indriyasyendriyasyarte. Ragadveshau vyavastitau.
Indriyasyendriyasyarte. Ragadvesha vyavastitau. Indriyasyendriyasyarte. Ragadvesha vyavastitau.
Good. Next.
K. Lalita Bhagini.
Tayorna vashamagachet.
Tayorna vasamagachet. Tayorna vasamagachet.
Tauhyasya paripanthinau.
Tauhyasya paripanthinau. Tauhyasya paripanthinau.
So here, if you look at that way, this ta paripanthinau, we see one ta there. They showed yellow color. That means paripanthinau. The ta, no, that should be the paripanthinau. Thinau. It should come like that.
Paripanthinau.
Right.
Paripanthinau.
Tayorna vashamagachet. Tauhyasya paripanthinau.
Tayorna vasamagachet. Tauhyasya paripanthinau. Tayorna vasamagachet. Tauhyasya paripanthinau.
The cha also, no? Tayorna vashamagachet. That should come.
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir.
Tauhyasya paripanthinau.
Tayorna vasamagachet. Tauhyasya paripanthinau.
Right. Good. So I think you all have a consciously look at these yellow marked things and ensure that you are giving a Mahaprana for that. Okay? Tha, tha, tha. Instead of palam, is a phala, phaladata. There should be some kind of flutter when you keep a small paper in front of you. That there should blast off air coming out of the mouth. Ha, 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 like that. That's it. Okay? Just you once you practice in the class and consciously practice and also take the practice sessions, you'll be able to easily manage it. Okay, next.
Yes. Sheila Shinde Bhagini.
Yes, ma'am.
Indriyasyendriyastat Indriyasyendriyasyaarthe ragadveshau vyavasthitau.
इन्द्रियस् इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे
Just
ra-
hold on. It is indriyasya arte. Indriyasya arte is indriyasyendriyasya.
इन्द्रिय इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रिय
Indriyasya arte.
इन्द्रिय इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
Correct. Once again.
इन्द्रिय इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ.
Good. Next.
సాయి లక్ష్మి భగిని
तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
Good. Next.
గురుమూర్తి మహోదయ
First line two
Yes, sir.
times.
Indriyasyendriyo Indriyasyendriyasarthe.
No. Indriyasya arte. Indriyasyendriyasyarte.
Indriyasyendriyasarthe. Ragatvesho vivastidau.
There is still some correction to be done. Indriyasyendriyasyarte. Indriyasyendriyasyarte. It is primarily indriyasya arte. Indriyasya become indriyasyendriyasya. Indriyasyendriyasya arte becomes indriyasyendriyasyarte.
Indriyasyendriyasarthe. Ragatvesho vivastidau.
We'll do it slowly. Indriyasya
Indriyasya
arte.
arte
Indriyasya arte.
Indriyasya arte
Two times. Indriyasya arte. Indriyasya arte.
Indriyasya arte.
Once again.
Indriyasya arte.
Now you only first two indriyasya you join. Indriyasya. Indriyasya plus e. Ya plus e becomes a. Indriyasya. No, indriyas. That's all.
Indriyasya.
Correct. Indriyasya arte. Now indriyasya arte. Indriyasya
arte. Indriyasya arte.
Okay.
Indriyasyendriyasarte.
Indriyasya is indriyasyendriyasya. Indriyasyendriyasya arte is indriyasyendriyasyarte. Ya plus asya plus arte become asyarte. Okay. Doesn't matter. Next.
కాశ్మీరా భగిని
Can you chant the first line two times slowly?
Yes. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe.
No. Indriyasyendriyasyarte. Indriyasyendriyasyarte.
Indriyasyendriyasyarthe.
Correct.
Ragadvesho vyavasthitau. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe. Ragadvesho vyavasthitau.
Correct. Next.
Vijayalakshmi or Bhagini.
Second line 2 times.
तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
Good. Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
2 lines once.
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
Okay, good. Next.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
नमस्ते भगिनि.
Namaste. The 2 lines.
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
Good. Next.
Rajalakshmi Bhagini.
The 2 lines.
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषो व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
Good. Next.
Anupama Bhatt Bhagini.
The 2 lines together.
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
Good. Next.
Leena Mehuldama Bhagini.
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
Good. So now when you look at one more person, then we'll go to the meaning.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
Good. Very good. So we'll go to the meaning of this. In the earlier shloka, Bhagavan was telling that we are all governed by our own nature. Everybody is governed by their own nature. Now, what is that nature? He's slightly explaining it here. If you look at that way, indriyasya arte ragadvecho vyavastito. Indriyasya arte means indriyasya arte. What are the objects of sense? Sense objects. So the sense objects, in the sense objects, raga and dvesha are resident. So if you look at that way, your likes and dislikes are with respect to the 5 sense organs which they interact with the external world. For example, if I look at my taste as a sense organ, I like sweet. I don't like bitter gourd. So I got dislikes and likes for my taste. Similarly, I may have a likes and dislikes for what I see. I may have a like and dislike for what I smell. So the entire raga likes and dislikes are present in the sense objects with which we are able to interact with. We are interacting with the external world. Okay. So likes and dislikes are there towards the sense objects that we are interacting with the entire world. What Bhagavan is telling now is that likes and dislikes will be there. You may like, for example, somebody may like potato sabji. Somebody will say, I will not take potato, I'll take only bendi. I don't take anything root vegetable. So everybody has got their own likes for something and dislikes for something. And this is only with respect to the 5 senses. Okay, likes and dislikes are with 5 senses. Now, the second step, so indriyasya arte ragadvesha vyavastito. We have got likes and dislikes. Tayoho, in that too, na vashamagachet. Do not come under the spell of them. Tau hi asya paripantino, because these are your immediate enemies. So the thing is that in the case of animals, they go by instincts. But now because we are human beings, Bhagavan is taking the responsibility of telling us that You will be governed by likes and dislikes of the world of objects based on the way your sense organs are interacting with them. That is what we also talked about guna. We say guna, gunesha, vartante. Also, we spoke last week. So they will be all interacting. They have raga, dvesho. So he says, do not come under the spell. Tayoho, among those two, na vashamagached. Never get into the spell of that. Tau, because those two, he asya paripanti. No, they both are your enemies. So he says that you will have likes and dislikes, but don't come under the spell of your likes and dislikes, which is going to be your enemies. Now, if you look at that way, the mind behaves in its own way. Is it possible for us to control our thought process? Extremely difficult. We'll have a lot of thoughts coming into our mind, but are we acting on every one of the thought is very, very important. Okay. So we have to be very, very judicious. A Viveki has got to be very, very judicious in terms of what kinds of thoughts are coming into him and what kinds of thoughts he is acting on them. For example, he is now telling that don't come into the spell of your ragas and dveshas. Don't come under the spell, but ragas and dveshas will be there. You'll have likes and dislikes, but do not come under the spell of it. Then how do we start understanding that? So let us assume that there was in the there was a Raja was there. In a kingdom, a big Raja was there, and he had a very, very beautiful daughter. And then there was a person who is a commoner in the same kingdom. This fellow he started falling in kind of liking for that princess. Okay. Then this fellow may perhaps like the princess, but he is a commoner. But can he have that kind of a raga that I have to fall? So if the person is going to have, if he is a Viveki, he will say, yeah, she is good. Aishwarya is good. Fine. She is there. Okay, I am here. Fine. So he just look at it at a very dispassionate manner, appreciate the beauty and then keep quiet. But he says, no, I want to go and get married to her. And if he is having that kind of audacity, and then he is not able to have his own buddhi acting on him and telling him that, Bhaiya, this is not the right way of your thinking is okay, it's coming in the mind, but it is not practicable, it is not worthwhile pursuing it. Don't fall into this particular trap of your mind. If that is what is happening, he'll keep quiet. He'll say, fine. And then he'll be able to manage with his own life. But if this fellow says, no, I am going to go to the Raja and ask for his daughter, he goes there, he gets bashed up and come back. That is because he has been in the spell of his raga. So I'm just giving a very simple example. So he says that in life, there will be a lot of such kinds of raga dveshas based on the 5 senses that you have. You are to ensure that you don't fall a victim. You don't come under the spell of these raga dveshas. If you come into the spell of this, then you are out of control. Your thoughts will be there. Your mind will be getting these kinds of thoughts. But at the same time, the viveka should also come into you, and then you will be able to overcome that. So as long as likes and dislikes are there, as long as raga dveshas are there, they are not your enemies. Our ragas and dveshas are not all your enemies. But if you are not able to keep them under your own control, then they become your very, very big enemies. So please be aware of that. Please be cognizant to the fact that you cannot you cannot come under the spell of your own raga dveshas. Raga dveshas are bound to be there because each one will have his own likes and dislikes based on the sense object that you're going to interact with in the world. You will have, but be conscious of that and do not come under the spell of that. If you come under the spell of that, you are going to have them as your enemies in terms of your progress, which is a very, very good information, good teaching that God has given. So now we'll go to the next shloka.
K. Lalita Bhagini.
Yes, sir.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha.
Paradharmat swanushtitat.
Paradharmat swanushtitat. Paradharmat swanushtitat.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha. Paradharmat swanushtitat.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha. Paradharmat swanushtitat. श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्.
Good. Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
Swadharme nidanam shreyah.
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः
Paradharmo bhayavahah.
परधर्मो भयावहः परधर्मो भयावहः
Swadharme nidanam shreyah. Paradharmo bhayavahah.
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Good.
Thank
Next.
you.
Rajeshwari Shivshankar Bhagini.
Yes, sir.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunah. Paradharma swanushtitat.
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharma swanushthita. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharma swanushtitat.
Good. Next.
Sai Lakshmi Bhagini.
Swadharme nidhanam shreyah. Paradharmo bhayavahah.
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Good. Next.
Sri Lakshmi HR Bhagini.
The two lines once.
Sri Lakshmi HR Bhagini. Vijaya Lakshmi R Bhagini.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्. श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्.
Go ahead with the second line also.
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः. स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Good. Next.
Kashmira Bhagini.
Both the lines.
Yes, sir. श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Good. Next.
Gurumurti Mahodaya.
Both the lines.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मो स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Okay, good. One more person.
Sheila Shinde Bhagini.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Good. One more person, then we'll go to the meaning.
Rajalakshmi Bhagini.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मनिधनं श्रेयः.
Swadharme nidhanam shreyah.
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
So we'll go to the meaning of this shloka. You look at the meaning of the shloka, it looks very simple. It says, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. Swadharma, whatever is the dharma that we follow, Vigunaha, even if it is imperfect, following that is Shreyas, is good. Though the Swadharma that you follow is having imperfection, following that is Shreya, it is good. Instead of Paradharma Swanushtita, instead of following some other dharma, somebody else's dharma. Okay. Then the second line is like Swadharme Nidanam Shreya. Following Swadharma, even it is going to cost your life, even if you die, Nidanam is death. Even if you die, that is also better than doing something, Paradharma. Paradharma, if you are doing something which is not your sadharma, doing something else, and then living in a life of fear. So this meaning, whatever you find here will be very, very abstract. I'll try to explain to you what is the real purport of this particular sloka. It says that it is better to follow your swadharma, even though there may be imperfection, rather than following somebody else's dharma. And it is better to even perish in following your swadharma. Otherwise, by following somebody else's dharma, you will only continue to live in fear. That is what he's telling. But now we try to understand this further. The thing is that what is dharma? Dharma means it is ethics. If you look at the way, there is a universal dharma. I think we had discussed this once also earlier. The dharma is same for everybody in the world. What you do not want somebody to do to you, you should not do to other person. If you don't like somebody to steal you, then you don't steal the other person. That is the fundamental thing. If I say that I don't want anybody to steal me, that is my dharma, but I don't mind stealing somebody else. That is not dharma. I don't want to be cheated means I should also not be cheating somebody else. If I will not create himsa, I don't want to be created himsa by somebody. I will not create himsa to somebody. So if you look at that way, I will follow traffic rules. Let everybody also travel the traffic rules. That means that what I expect from the entire humanity or entire nature, the same thing that I'll also respect and give it back. That is the ethics of living. That is the paramo dharma. See, what you expect, you also ensure that you deliver. Only when we expect something, when we don't want anybody to bluff to us, but we can go on bluffing, then that is dangerous. That is called hypocrisy. So that is not a swadharma. But so dharma means dharma is universal. If you look at Dharma Shastra also, whatever Dharma Shastra talks about is all universal values only. But now when you look at values, somebody is following the values and leading a life. He can be a samsari, but he might not be a karma yogi. Because the karma yogi feels that following dharma anushtanam is a service to Bhagavan. If by following dharma, I am sure that I am taking care of the entire responsibility that I have with the ecosystem, and I am only doing a service to Bhagavan, and with that attitude he is doing, so he is a karma yogi. Whereas other person, he may not be a karma yogi, he may be pursuing in his own life in terms of the logical, legally he will be pursuing a lot of things in the worldly life. But he will be following the ethics standards, but he is not a karma yogi. So that is one thing that we need to understand. But now, if you look at a situation that we are put into, okay, you are put into a situation, if what you have to do in that situation is similar to whatever you want to do, you understand? What is that you are supposed to do in a situation is the same thing that you also want to do, then the action is spontaneous. You understand what I'm telling? In this situation, this is what is to be done, and my desire is also to tell that I will only do this. The spontaneity of expression, spontaneity of action, and that will be always a dharma, because what is to be done is coming spontaneously from you. That is dharma. But what is to be done is something, but what you want to do is different. There's a conflict. That will definitely be adharma. So we have to be very, very clear on that. What is to be done, if it is going to concur with what you want to do, then there's spontaneity, and then you are following a dharma. And in such a situation, you do only what is to be done by you on the situation, and do not start doing somebody else's thing. Don't do what somebody else is doing. Well, that one of the biggest explanations, to explain to you this further, let us assume that there's a football game going on. Okay. The football goalkeeper is standing in the goal post and then starting to hold on to the opposition people from putting the goal. His dharma at that point in time is to hold the goal post and ensure that the goals are not coming into the goal. That is what he is supposed to do. Now, if he is standing and standing and standing for half an hour or 45 minutes, no goal, nobody was able to come with the ball to any close to him. Then he decided that nobody is coming here, so I'm just standing. Let me go and let me also go into the field. Then he starts running into the field. It will create disaster. So what I am telling is that what you have to do, only you have to do. You cannot do what you are not supposed to do. Paradharma Konushtita is not good. Even though you may be a bad goalkeeper, better you stand in the goal post rather than getting into the particular group and then start, I'll also run along with other people like defenders and forward point, etc. No, he says that don't do that. You are given this, you do that. That is what is the right thing for you to do. Don't do the other thing. It is better that you may be imperfect, but Shreyans for the Viguna, it may be imperfect, but still you do that. The other, so you have to only understand that in the entire scheme of thing, I am supposed to do this and I am doing this. Goalkeeper should say, I am supposed to do this, I will do this only. That is Swadharma Anishtanam. The other important thing that in a material world we can talk about is that there is an engine. Okay, the engine keeps going up. There's a piston which goes up and down in the engine, and the engine is producing a lot of power, and the car is going. So the piston is continuously working up and down, it's going and coming. There's a small bolt and nut which is holding the piston onto the engine. Okay, piston is going up and down. This nut is simply stationary nut. It is just holding onto the piston. It is fine seeing that piston going up and down, up and down, up and down. Then the piston asks the nut, come on, yeah, I have been continuously going up and down in the hot environment and you are happily sitting tight. Okay, please understand that I am doing such a hard work. You are happily doing nothing and sitting tight. Then this did not react in the first instant. Second instant also when it told, then this nut started thinking, yeah, there is something that is telling, okay, what is that? Okay, let me also do something. So it will start moving. So it's moved in the clockwise direction, it was getting further tightened. Then he thought, okay, it's not happening, so let me move in the anti-clockwise direction. So the nut started rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. Finally, what happened was after a few times, the nut became loose, the nut fell into the cylinder, crankcase, and then the entire engine blasted. So sitting tight in that situation was dharma to be followed by the nut. It cannot think that I want to do that. Similarly, we have to be very, very clear as to what is that we need to, what is to be done at that particular point in time, and do what is that we need to do. Maybe you are in a place where there is somebody sinking into the water. I'm giving another example. Okay. Best thing will be that you have to go and save that person. But unfortunately, you don't know swimming. Then what you will do, you'll go to somebody, run to somebody, tell them, please, there is a situation like this. I want somebody to help me. I have only given him some kind of a rubber tube I thrown into the water to help him out to survive for some time, but I want somebody to come and rescue him. That is the action that you have to do. So that is what Bhagavan says in this. What is the swadharma that you can do at that point in time of a situation? That is better to do that only rather than doing something else in which you don't have a competency. Somebody may be bleeding, then don't think that I can become a doctor and then start prescribing medicines. You say that you try to give first aid and then try to see what kind of medical assistance can be given. That is what should be done. So he says that do not overstep. At the same time, do not walk away from responsibility. Okay. So that is what is the meaning of that. Because doing that, even if you have to, it is going to cost your life, is okay, rather than doing somebody else's dharma. So Shreyans Swadharmo Vigunaha, Paradharma Swanushtitati, Swadharme Nidanam Shreyaha, Paradharmo Bhayavaha. So I hope we're able to get a small flavor of this particular shloka. Okay. And then another thing is that there is always a duty. We have to be duty conscious. Duty means whenever we are confronted with the kind of thing that we do, we have to be having duty conscious. If you look at that way, rights and duty people have to understand. Okay, doing as a duty means I am supposed to do this, I am doing this. That is a duty. I am a father, supposed to do this, I am doing it as a duty. I am a mother, doing it as a duty. Okay, that is one thing. Then, if you say that I got a right, okay, once you combine the duty with rights, then what happens is that you give me this, I will do this. Okay, then it becomes the kind of a business kind of situation. You give me this, I will do this. Then there's a demand coming in. When the demand comes into picture, the duty suffers. Okay, when the demand comes to the picture, duty suffers. When there's a demand and somebody says, say, I was sick and you did not come and meet me at all. The other fellow will say, yeah, I was sick last time, you also did not come and meet me. At the end of the day, we feel that we can demand. You demand, I am also demanding. You demand, I am also demanding. Forget that kind of demanding nature. Rather, you feel that somebody is sick and it is rightful for me to go and look at them and then give a consoling words and see what help I can do. That is what you should look at it. Rather than when I was sick, he did not come, so why should I go? So don't put demand in front of performing your duty. So karma, then it becomes a karma yoga. Otherwise, it becomes a kind of a business. Otherwise, it becomes a kind of a demand on something. And if you look at that way, because we have been following Vedic heritage for long years in our country, even today, except in the IT culture, only people say, I go to work. If you look at the time when I was working, we'll say we are going to our duty. When we say we are going to a duty, duty is always to take care of many people. Duty is not only doing work. When I say I got a duty to do, it means that I got a lot of people who are waiting for me to execute something, and I'm doing a service to them. So if you look at our culture, still 20 years back, people were never said I'm going to work. They said I'm going to my duty. Where are you going? My son has gone for duty. So duty means that he is delivering something for sake of everybody. That is what is called karma yogic thought process. Okay. Even government and all, we say it is a duty of the government. I am a public servant. The chief minister of a state says I am a public servant. Prime minister says I am the pradhan sevak in the country. So that is a duty. Duty means not for my selfish interest, but for take of everybody. That is the loka sangrahameva pi. So here he is talking about the swadharma. Following swadharma is more important with a duty consciousness, without any kind of demand coming up. And that is much more important than trying to do somebody else's job, somebody else's dharma. Okay, I think I take a lot of time for this. So we'll go to the next sloka.
Anupama Bhatt Bhagini.
Now Bhagavan has told all these things so far to Arjuna. So Arjuna has now got a question. So he's now asking question to Bhagavan. Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha.
Ath kena prayuktoyam.
Ath kena prayuktoyam. Ath kena prayuktoyam.
Papancharati purushah.
Papancharati purushah. Papancharati purushah.
Ath kena prayuktoyam. Papancharati purushah.
Ath kena prayuktoyam. Papancharati purushah. Ath kena prayuktoyam. Papancharati purushah.
Good. Next.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
Anichinnapi vashneya.
Anichannapi varneya. Anichannapi varneya.
Yeah, Anishchannapi, correct. Anishchan. Vashne baladiva nijojitah.
Baladiv niyojitah. Baladiv niyojitah.
Anichannapi vashneya. Baladiva nijojitah.
Anichannapi varneya. Baladiv niyojitah. Anichannapi varneya. Baladiv niyojitah.
Good. Next.
Leena Mehul Dama Bhagini.
Atah kena prayuktoyam. Papancharati purushah.
अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापञ्चरति पूरुषः अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापञ्चरति पूरुषः.
Next.
Rajeshwari Shivashankar Bhagini.
Anishchannapi Vashneya Baladiva Niyojitaha.
अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः.
Next.
K. Lalita Bhagini.
First line 2 times.
Yes, sir. अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः.
Next.
Sri Lakshmi HR Bhagini.
Second line 2 times.
Yes, sir. Anichannapi varshneya baladiv niyojitah. Anichannapi varshneya baladiv niyojitah.
Good. Next.
Vijay Lakshmi R Bhagini.
अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः.
Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
Yes, Mother.
Yeah.
Arjuna Uvacha Atha Kena Prayuktoyam Papancharati Purushaha Anichannapi Varshneya Baladiva Niyojitaha.
Good. Next.
Kashmira Bhagini.
Yes, sir. Arjuna Uvacha Atha Kena Prayuktoyam Papancharati Purushaha Anichannapi Varshneya Baladiva Niyojitaha.
Good. Next.
Gurumurti Mahodaya.
Yes. Arjuna Uvacha Ata Kena Prayoyam Pabam Charadi Purushaha Anichannapi Vasneya Aladiva Niyojitaha.
Now, Arjuna was listening to all these talk Lord Krishna was telling him. So he tried to understand about the Guna Gunesha Vartante, that is the sense objects interacting, senses and interacting with sense objects. And then there is a need for having a check on the sense organs. And also you should not fall into a spell of the sense organs because they may take you for a ride. So you have to have an understanding of the ragas and dveshas that is there in all the sense objects. Sense objects and the senses that we have, ragas and dveshas are there. We have to be very, very confident, clear about those things. They should not be your enemies. So you have to be keeping them under control. It cannot come under the spell of that. We talked about the Raja story about that, no? That he has that kind of raga dveshas coming in, but he cannot be coming under the spell of that kind of a thing. So then we also talked about what is to be done, has got to be done, and what is to be done if it is going to be in line with what you want to do. Spontaneity of action takes place, and then you are doing the action as though you are doing it as a service to the God. Then we talked about dharma, and then duty, and then rights, etc. And then we talked about the importance of being a duty-oriented mind. That is very, very important from Karma Yoga perspective. Now, after listening to all these things, Arjuna has got a question. Yeah, there are some situations in life when I am supposed to act which is appropriate to that particular situation only. But what is happening is that something is impelling me to do something different than what I am supposed to do. So, kena prayitoyam papam charati purusha. It is making me to do something anichannapi, though I don't want to do that. Anichannapi vashneya, though I don't want to do the other thing. That is, not only he is talking about himself, for everybody, though they don't want to do the other kind of thing in that specific context of the situation they are facing, something is impelling them to do something different than what they are supposed to do. Baladiva niyojitaha. Something in themselves Baladiva, out of force, it is impelling them and putting them to do something totally different. Baladiva niyojitaha. So if we know that, we have to do only that. We have to also fully involved in that, be duty conscious and do that. Still, when situations are confronted, something in me is making me to get into anichannapi, whatever I don't want to do also, I is being balavantam, baladiva niyojita. Out of force, it is making me do something totally different to the need of the situation. Why is that happening? He is asking that question. I think it is a very, very fair question that all of us have the same problem. We have to do an act in some way, but at the time of acting, we are acting the other way, and something is impelling us, baladiva, out of it is forcefully making us to get into some other way of acting. So he is asking Arjuna, Arjuna is asking Krishna, what is that is impelling us to do that? How do I take care of that? So for that, Lord is going to talk about that, which will take it up tomorrow. Okay. सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृते ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतियान्ति भूतानि निग्रह किं करिष्यति इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः अर्जुन उवाच अतः केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापञ्चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वाष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ